Hey, good morning everyone! Welcome back to another episode on the self-sufficient vlog. So, what do I have here? I visited my grandpa-in-law a few days back and he gave me this over 4 meter long piece of wood that is normally used to put into roofs as the so-called fetter. So if you have a roof and it meets at the very top, you're going to put a huge piece of wood in there to give it stability and so on, to screw everything else to it. And this right here is, by the smell of it, it smells like orange, so it's probably Douglas fir. And my mission for today is to turn those pieces and also those two boards of, I think it's pine if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't smell like Douglas fir actually. And also a little bit of profile wood, which I still have left from my garden house built into a high planting bed for a little raspberry plant that I have grown since it was so young. It was so tiny, it was pretty small. I also got it from my grandparents-in-law. It was just growing out of the ground. I was asking, hey, can I have it? And it survived the winter, and now I'm going to give it a dedicated planting bed. Yeah, that's what we are going to do at first, and then something very special in the second part of the video. So let's get to resawing and the like. This is why we are at my workshop, and then we're going to go over and plant the whole thing in. So yeah, let's not waste any time, shall we? Let's go to the bandsaw. So it's a fairly straightforward project this time. At first I went over to my Laguna bandsaw and turned the Douglas fir into a fairly square lumber that I'll use as the four legs of the raised bed. To get rid of some saw marks, I took some light passes on the jointer. And also fully squared up the lumber to get a pair of perpendicular sides per leg. Olga then took care of all opposite faces. And my drum sander finally smoothed all the surfaces. Next, I proceeded to cut all the legs to length over my sliding table saw. To later attach the profiled wood and pine boards to the structure, I added 2 grooves per leg where they will later slide into. Just like with the legs, I went through a similar process of preparing the top and some of the sideboards. should be relatively square, I suppose, and it's way more big than I thought it would be. Man, one is huge. That's what she said. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind the squareness too much. Most important thing is that we get those right. So what I imagined was something of that sort. So if we overlap it just a tiny little bit, gonna be left with something of that sort. Yeah, something like that. So I need to cut those down at first a tiny little bit, just getting those squared up. And then I can start arranging everything and yeah, trying to cut it to size, I suppose. And in the process, theoretically, it should automatically get squared up because under the condition that those outer borders or those outer planes are relatively square, I can just align those from here to there and so on, and everything should become rather square in the process. So yeah, this is like the only condition that we are going to set here. Now I need to think. So how am I gonna do that? Should go something like this, I think. If I were to line it up with that one, no. How am I going to line it up? Exactly. Like this, I think. It should go like this. And if I were to use my domino, those should get rather square. Yeah, I don't even need to think too much about that whole process, I think. Gotta take my domino. I'm going to make the first two butt joints here. Gotta square those up completely, and once that is done, I'm going to start aligning the other ones. And then it should work. And then later I can just put it on here and then nail everything or screw everything together, and then we should be fine, I think. Yeah, let's do like that. And this is where the domino joiner really shines. Like, this performance is just outright ridiculous. Now I can square everything up nicely. It's not a problem at all. Very nice. Splendid. And I'm going to repeat the process on the last one too. And then we are done already. I took those weird overhanging parts off with my table saw later, and to top it all off, I added a big chamfer to all the legs. With all of that done, I trimmed the profiled wood that I still had lying around to size. And lastly, I assembled the whole thing with some thread nails and screws. Very easy project, but satisfying to see it fully built in my own garden. Now for the gardening portion of the video. I stuffed a bed full of organic components such as twigs, soil, rotten wood that I found in a nearby forest, more soil, more wood, even more soil, rotten leaves, and some store-bought compost. And to activate the compost and organic material, I hydrated it a bit before adding the final layer of sandy earth. And that's about it. There we go, little one. Let us move you in your new home. Gotta place it here. Maybe I'm gonna buy 1 or 2 other plants too. Let's bury it rather deep, such that it gets a bit of the compost. Those are some nice roots. Yeah, you're a nice plant. Okay, perfect. That is that. Done. Let's flood it a bit such that the moisture gets absorbed the first time around to the deep layers. It's sand, so it takes a while to absorb. And we are good. A pretty cool one-day project that really added a nice touch to my garden. Hope you did enjoy this episode, and if you did, make sure to subscribe for more episodes in the self-sufficient series, the self-sufficient vlog, and also my woodworking projects. Until the next video, I wish you guys a flammable day. Please stay safe. See ya.